Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Ready for some new drama? I have some good ones for you today. Let's go to the first one.
So, my father isn't well. He's got lung cancer. Granted, smoking at least a pack a day for 40 plus years can do that. But a few weeks back, I'm visiting with him the most I can, while I still can, and with my mother and two sisters. Let's call them Jade and Lisa. The topic of his will came up, and he revealed to me that I was no longer in the will. This took me by surprise, and in private, I asked him why, and he told me that I was successful on my own, I have a degree, and have opened 2 sports bars that even in these times are successful, and make $100,000 a year, and he doesn't feel I need the money. Now, my father is worth about $3 million, and the only people in his will were me, my sisters, and my mom. But now I'm out, and it was set up for everyone to get $500K from his cash assets, Mom to get his royalties from his and his brother's businesses that are now run by my cousins, and for her to get the house. I was upset by this not because I was removed. It's his choice. But why I was removed. Because I did everything right in my life that I deserved to be punished. So I went to a lawyer friend of mine and explained everything, and he said that there is a case he can make to contest it, and to call him if I seek to further it. I went to my father and asked to make a revision. I wanted $200K for my kids' college funds and his collection of over 100 guns, or I would take this to court to contest everything. I don't know if I could win, but after a couple of days of thinking about it, my father agreed and changed the will. My mother is fine with it, but Jade and Lisa are mad, saying I forced them into it, and that they need the money far more than I do. They both make around $40K a year. Now my sisters don't speak to me when I visit my father, and I don't feel like what I did was wrong. I'm not even taking money for myself, only for my kids. But my sisters are treating me like a villain, so I figured I'd ask, am I the a-hole for having my father put me back into the will under the threat of contesting it? Edit. Alright, I should explain something. My father has for years been talking about saving his money so his children and wife could be set up for after he dies. I was always included until recently. You're all a bunch of a-holes for treating your dad like a lottery ticket while he's on his deathbed. You're all a bunch of entitled, selfish a-holes in my opinion. Your sisters feel they deserve more money just because they don't have enough, and you feel as if you should be rewarded for being the most successful of the bunch. Your dad should sign everything over to your mom and be done with all of you. I'm sure he's had a hand in raising you all to be this way, so it is what it is. But sheesh. What a bunch of leeches, arguing over his money before he's even dead. He must feel so loved and valued. Not the a-hole. It is really getting tiring the amount of parents out there who think it's okay to shaft the kids who worked hard and were successful. Split the inheritance equally among your kids. Unless one child got more money along the way with more expensive schools, financial help, etc. In that case, calculate it so each child winds up getting the same, whether they got it before or after the parents' death. In other words, make it fair. Of course, the lawyer can make a case. It may take over a year for you to lose, but the lawyer will get paid anyway. Sounds like your father is of sound mind, and no one, but you, has pressured him into changing the will. Your sisters and mother could contest the will because of your actions. Meanwhile, if anyone contests it, the assets freeze, meaning that your mother, who is probably dependent on his money, will have zero access to funds. So no groceries, no electric bill, no medical, and prescription payments. You're the a-hole, probably one of the biggest I've seen. My mom died when I, 17 male, was a baby, so I don't remember her, but her family was a big presence in my life, and I vacationed with them every summer, 2020 excluded. Dad met his wife when I was 7. They were together for 6 months when she told me she loved me. After meeting her 3 other times before that, and she could not wait to give me another mom. I told her I didn't want another mom. She was sad, but said she understood. They married a few months after that, and then when I was 9, she and my dad sat me down and told me she wanted to adopt me, and that she loved me so much, and her dream was to be my mom. I told her I still don't think of her as my mom. She asked if I loved her enough to try, to give it a shot, and we could wait on the adoption until I was ready. I said I didn't want to. She then said to do it because I loved her. Dad said there was no woman more deserving. I told them I didn't love her enough to let her be my mom. She cried. My dad told me he didn't know why I was lying, but therapy would help me see I loved her. I did go to therapy. I didn't change my mind on letting her be my mom, being adopted by her. So they tried to have a baby of their own. She was not able to get pregnant, but they abandoned the idea of her getting her motherhood dreams out of me, which was good. But she couldn't get pregnant, and so IVF was their next step. I'm not sure on all the details, but they only got enough for one try, and they waited and prepped her so the pregnancy would stick. She made it to 14 of 15 weeks, and then she miscarried 3 weeks ago. It was bad. She was broken and ended up staying in the hospital so they could help her. My dad decided that now I need to give her what she wants. That 10 years of knowing her and 9-ish years of her being his wife means she has been my mom whether I like it or not, and I need to start showing her that I love and care about her. He told me the adoption would mean the world to her and would be the biggest help while she grieves. I told him I had enough, and his wife's grief was not enough for me to let her adopt me. I told him I did not think of her as my mom. I did not love her. I was not a toy that could fill her motherhood desire. I told him I'm a real person, his son, and mom's son. And while I don't know her, you can't just ask someone to adopt to give another person their dream. He told me he was disappointed in me and expected me to be more compassionate and loving to her after all this time. Am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. Her pushing so hard and not respecting boundaries is not cool, and probably pushed you away. Forcing won't work either, though I think she's coming from a good place. That doesn't really make her and your father's behavior okay. But I do also feel, as young as you are, you don't fully understand why adoption can be beneficial. If something, God forbid, happened to them, you would get any life insurance policy money, the house they live in if they own it, etc. If you're not adopted, somebody else in her family could make a claim to half the house. Though a will and making you a beneficiary would give protection, a family member could potentially contest it. With adoption, you're officially her next of kin, so you would be fully protected. It sounds like she loves you very much and wants her assets to go to you. So maybe think a little more about the big picture, not the a-hole. Your dad and his wife did everything they could to make sure you never want to go anywhere near her. Just tell them to adopt some orphan child or something. Maybe their insanity will end up in something good. Not the a-hole, but this woman sounds like she needs help mentally. She can't conceive, so you have no other choice but to be her daughter. She's the one who should seek therapy. It sounds scary to me. My male 30, brother, male 32, and his fiancée, female 26, are getting married at the end of the month. My girlfriend, female 32, is my +1. We've been together for 6 months and she's great. Yesterday I was at my brother's to help him set up new shelves in the kitchen. That's when he told me his fiancée had a request. The fiancée asked me what my girlfriend is planning to wear to the wedding because, honestly, she dresses provocatively and she might wear something inappropriate. She asked me if it was okay that we showed her the bride, my girlfriend's outfit for approval. I'm aware about weddings demanding a certain dress code and that there's a lot of rules involved, but I was a bit shocked about her request. I thought it to be a bit disrespectful, to be honest. My girlfriend is a very beautiful woman who loves fashion. I haven't noticed that she's ever been inappropriate. Maybe she likes the mini dress and the low back occasionally, but it has been in the right environment, like on a night out or a date with me. Otherwise, she's very modest, barely wears makeup. Plus, she knows fashion, and she's probably aware of the rules of weddings. I didn't feel the bride's request was okay, so I told her no way that I'm going to ask my girlfriend that. The bride got a bit sulky and didn't talk much to me the rest of the evening. I went to my girlfriend afterwards for dinner, and while we were preparing, she started talking about the wedding. I asked her if she had bought something for the wedding, and she said she didn't have to. She had a lot of dresses, and she already had chosen one. Show me. She did. She's chosen an olive green midi dress with high collar. It was perfect. I texted my brother and soon-to-be wife that the dress was modest, so they could chill. This morning, the bride called me asking me to send her a pic of the dress. Huh? What are you still on about? No. I saw the dress. It's perfect. You should take my word for it. She was raging mad crying that I'm trying to ruin her wedding. Are you going to ask all 150 guests to send you pictures of their outfits for approval? No. Only your girlfriend likes wearing provocative outfits. I hung up. I texted my brother that my girlfriend didn't need to come to the wedding since the relationship was new, and when they sent the save the date, I was still single, so it just said +1. He texted me back saying I'm a D. Soon-to-be sister-in-law also texted calling me a D. Here's where I might have been an a-hole. I could have just sent a pic to calm them down, but I didn't, because what they're asking is a bit hurtful, And even if I did it behind girlfriend's back to avoid hurting her feelings, it's still disrespectful to sneak around. They should just have trusted my judgment. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If she is trying to police just your girlfriend, she is being an a-hole, and I agree. Unless she wants to do this to all the guests, there is no reason for the bride to single out just her. Everyone sucks here, except your girlfriend. Yes, the bride is insecure and being unreasonable. Yes, your brother is enabling her. Is this a hill you really want to die on? Is straining your relationship with your brother and future sister-in-law worth it? Send a picture of the damn dress. Your girlfriend doesn't have to be wearing it in the pic. Not the a-hole. You did right. They are being unreasonable and also quite unpleasant to your girlfriend. Let me guess. Girlfriend is a stunner as well as being fashionable, and the bride feels threatened by this. You showed us the dress. Your girlfriend has chose the perfect outfit for the situation, down to a toned-down color and neckline, completely non-threatening while being appropriately dressy. They should take your word for it. I'm petty. When you marry your girlfriend, tell Bro and Zilla you must vet their outfits. Edit. My girlfriend wore a very revealing dress on my 30th birthday. That was the first and only time my sister-in-law and my girlfriend met. It was a designer dress, moi moi, that cost $4,000 that my girlfriend could borrow from one of her stylist friends. She was so happy because she could never afford a dress like that. And honestly, I was happy for totally different reasons I will keep to myself. That dress is probably the start of this crap storm. I still can't understand the bride since these are two very different occasions. Update. I want to start by saying thank you for the not the a-hole, and here's my update. I thought I needed to make one more since a lot of things happened. My brother texted me asking how I shall solve this. I didn't text him back. I was meeting my girlfriend later that day and thought I could call him afterwards. When I was at my girlfriend's, I asked if she accepted to be my +1 because she wanted, or just for my sake. She said that if she was being honest, she was doing it for me. She said since I'm one of the groomsmen, she would be alone and she knew nobody. She was a bit nervous. I told her she was off the hook, and she was surprised but pleased. I texted my friend Steve and asked him to be my date to the wedding. He was game. On my way home, I called my brother and told him that girlfriend is out, Steve in. He was silent for a moment and then said, "Why did you have to do this?" I told him, "Well, I'm serious about this woman. If she's to be a part of our family, I don't want her to know that your first impression of her was that she's an S. I did not appreciate your judgment of her, and I wasn't going to risk hurting her feelings, not even a little bit over a dress. You insinuated that she's inappropriate. I rejected your hypothesis. I tried to be nice, even if I didn't need to, and investigated about the dress and reported back to you. That should have been good enough, but there's no harm done. I'm happy to bring Steve with me. Do you want a picture of what he's planning to wear?" He laughed, and then he asked me, "Why do you have to be so difficult, man?" I told him I wasn't the one being difficult. You've invited 150 people. There's no way in hell you could control all of them. Instead of enabling her behavior, you should help your wife overcome her insecurities. She's a beautiful lady and doesn't need to feel jealous or threatened by my girlfriend or any other woman. That's when I heard something like a banshee screaming. I almost drove off the road. My idiot brother had put me on speaker this whole time, and future sister-in-law heard everything, including me calling her insecure. I panicked and drove directly to their house. Future sister-in-law was in the bathroom crying, and my brother was furious. I apologized probably 100 times before she opened the door and let me in. I swore I was joking, and it wasn't even a good joke. She didn't stop crying. I kissed her forehead and begged her to forgive me. My brother told me she'll calm down eventually, so yeah, I ducked up real bad. Now I have a lot of damage control to do. Maybe try to upgrade their honeymoon flight to first class, or ask the bridesmaid if I could fund her bridal shower, or maybe, I don't know. My son is going to an expensive school next year, and I'm financially nervous about it. It's close to $16,000 a year after aid. All of a sudden, I'm worried about providing for my younger sons. I'm a single dad. Now that I have this financial monkey on my back. A few weeks before my son graduated, his class had an assembly where they gave out scholarship money. The money was raised from foundations or groups like Rotary. My son won 2 awards totaling $10,000. The problem was that we thought that we were on the same page regarding the money. I said it was going to be used for school, and he agreed. What I meant was that it was going to be used to pay me back, since I already paid for his school, and he meant that he would go to college with $10K to spend as he sees fit. Of course, he's saying that it's his money, and I'm not saying it's not. It's for college, and since I paid for it, it goes to pay me back. I would have factored that money into everything if I had known he was getting it. I told him I'm not ducking around, and all I have to do is tell the teacher who is in charge of distributing the money to send the check in my name. He will do it. Of course, I'd rather have my son see it my way before having to override him like he's 11. You're the a-hole. You should have had a serious conversation with your son about this a long time ago. Also, you saved this up for him to pay you back? Most parents save up a college fund for their kid for exactly that, to get them through college. That's it. No expectations for their kids to pay them back. Sorry you had more kids than you planned for, but it's honestly kind of crappy of you to expect your child to do that. Shouldn't you just be happy that your kid made it to college, got those scholarships, and just support him, instead of dogging him about money? You're the a-hole. You quite obviously did it in a way you could say what you wanted. As his dad, you should be paying for his school, and that money is going towards more school that will help him potentially in the long run. I'm hoping that he does well, gets a great job, lots of money, and gives you duck all.